Do the church leaders know that Cain has his own bloodline that are walking around on the earth right now? Of course they do, and they wish to keep it hidden as they have throughout history, and so they come up with these agendas in order to keep the dumb sheeple in line. All right, so as long as you believe that Eve literally ate an apple, you'll be fine. All right. You will continually donate to these ministries. You will continually see these, quote, godly Christians as godly Christians. And you will never, ever realize that the ones that are going to devour you are walking among you. All right? Jude 1:11. Woe unto them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, and ran greedily after the error of Balaam for reward, and perished in the gainsaying of Corey. So this guy, Corey was a guy who came up against Moses. And basically, he ended up dying because he was trying to fight against God's elect. And so what happened was he was basically killed. Okay, so according to the book of Numbers, what happened to him was the earth swallowed him up. All right, so what was wrong with Corey? He basically hated God's government, all right? Like most of the people here on YouTube, all right? Like most people do. They don't like the commandments, all right? And so what happens to people when they don't follow God's commandments? Well, there's what is called order out of chaos, all right? Because what do God's commandments consist of? They consist of not murdering, not stealing, not lying, yada, 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 all right? So that's what that verse means. And then the book of Jude, just a really quick rundown on the book of Jude. It's actually a really good book. It is describing the children of disobedience, aka the sons of Cain. All right, so here's Jude. When we read, he's the brother of James, servant to Jesus Christ. He was actually writing this letter to the elect, but what happened, so he says in verse 3 that he was going to write about common salvation, all right? But what happened was he noticed that there were certain men that crept in unawares. Okay, basically he is talking about what Jesus Christ was talking about in regards to the terror. Okay, so Jude was actually writing about that. And who was he writing about? He was writing about the Cainites, all right, the sons of Cain, all right? And so we see in verse 7, he's talking about, these people giving themselves up to Sodom and Gomorrah, dealing in fornication, going after strange flesh, dreamers, these people here on YouTube who are, claiming they have visions and dreams and all this other crap. So pay attention to verse number 12, all right? Specifically, these people, they will infiltrate themselves in your homes, in your lives. They will, quote, feast with you, feeding themselves without fear. They are basically twice dead, plucked up by the roots, which means there is absolutely no way that they will ever change their spots, which means they will never ever accept God or God's ways, all right? AKA his commandments. They don't like God. They don't want to have nothing to do with God. And we can actually see people like that all over YouTube, all right? The people that are not so obvious are usually they're using God to profit monetarily, and they have absolutely, they are not ashamed, they are not embarrassed to do it. They are just the lowest of low. Okay, these people, I would have more respect for people to just push their businesses and their entrepreneurial desires and not use God. All right. I mean, it's just utterly sad that we have to put up with people who are claiming Christianity, but all they're here for is just to make money. All right. This is exactly why God would rather hang out with the prostitutes, and this is why God said that the prostitute will enter into heaven before the pious Christian. All right. So that's just a little rundown on the book of Jude. And remember Jude 1:12. These are spots in your feasts of charity, when they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear. Clouds they are without water, carried about of winds. Trees whose fruit withereth, without fruit, twice dead, plucked up by the roots. All right. They're going to smile in your face. They're going to pretend to teach you. The only thing that they're doing is they are trying to prevent you from reading the Bible yourself. All right. Have a nice day.